Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq, coming to you live from the Singapore Fintech Festival. Joining me for this segment, we have JoAnn Barefoot, founder and CEO for the Alliance for Innovation Regulation. JoAnn, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to TradeTalks.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
All right, and this is one of my favorite topics, using newer technologies for the future of financial oversight and protection. And we're curious to get some of your insight from the Alliance for Innovative Regulation. In what areas for generative AI, and that's what everyone is talking about these days, have the greatest promise to improve consumer financial services?
We think it's possible that generative AI will solve problems that we've never been able to solve before in consumer finance, especially when you think about the asymmetry in the fact that the provider understands the financial product and the consumer often doesn't. And with generative AI, it's going to be more possible for the consumer to search possibilities, find out about problems, even maybe have their own personal Gen AI assistant that can help them screen products and choices and help with their financial management. I mean, it could be an entirely new ballgame.
How could generative AI transform financial regulation?
The regulators are going to be needing to adopt AI. I'm a former bank regulator myself in the United States. And regulators need much more information, and they need much more analytical ability, especially with AI, to take the explosion of data that we now have in financial markets and understand what it's telling them. So one example is I recently was a judge in a tech sprint by GFIN, the Global Financial Innovation Network, and they were able to look for greenwashing, where companies might make unsubstantiated claims about their carbon emissions, and search everything that has been put out and find out if there is a claim that's being made in, say, an ESG report that doesn't match other information databases, and find things that the regulators should look more closely at.
What risks are associated with leveraging new technologies like generative AI?
The risks are huge, so I'm an optimist about the possibilities, but there's so many risks. One of them is the likelihood of proliferating financial scams that are very sophisticated. Someone calling your grandmother and saying, I'm in trouble, in your voice, not a text message, but the actual voice or even a deep fake of the person. People are going to have a hard time defending themselves against those. There's also a lot of concern that these AIs will import biases into the system, especially if they're trained on biased underlying data. There's concern about market concentration. The companies that have the most data will potentially have a big market advantage. There's concern about market manipulation. There's a lot. The regulators are going to be very busy keeping ahead of it.
They certainly are. All right, let's look at the flip side, though. How can Gen AI protect consumers by identifying suspicious sales, marketing, the scams that you had mentioned before? Yeah. How can it help regulators and law enforcement catch these bad actors?
I think it not only can help, I honestly think it's going to be the only way to protect people from AI-driven risk. The regulators are going to have to use AI tools to be able to quickly find where are the hot spots of risk, predatory practices, malicious malware, the whole range of bad things, money laundering, financial crimes of all kinds. The AI is going to make it easier for the regulator to look at all these patterns and say, here's an area we need to look closely at.
Well, I mean, as a former bank regulator yourself, I'm sure you wish you had some of the, it makes your job more difficult, but to have some of these tools where you can pull what's readily available so you can focus on more complex issues, I would imagine some of it could have made your job easier.
Absolutely. There are statistics on how much time bank examiners, for example, spend just doing data entry. We're going to have tools that will do all that and will be able to, again, look for patterns of risk and let the smart human beings use these tools to go and look closely at things that really are the main priorities for the public, instead of searching for needles in haystacks, as happens now so much.
All right, JoAnn, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me from Singapore. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.